on ethical issues in the functional areas of business.
Okay. Good afternoon once again, and welcome to this class. Our topic for today is ethical issues in the business. In fact, having looked at the overview of the business ethics in general, I think it is also very important for us to delve deeper, look at the functional areas. So our learning objectives are ethical issues in marketing and advertisement, ethical issues in accounting. We'll also look at ethical issues in human resource management. We'll look at ethical issues in production and operation management, ethical issues in information technology. So looking at this, in all the areas, all the functional areas, we are now going to delve deeper into them. Well, let's look at transparency and accountability as two critical words in the world of ethics, if you want to look at it in that aspect, because they are concerned with practical application of management principles in different fields activities. And these areas are human resource management, marketing, finance, production, information technology, and so on. And these are the areas of management that we look at in our last semester when we started dealing with management and the principles of management. So the general ethical principles that should be applied in these areas are justice and fairness in all dealings, producing good outcomes. So we have already talked about ethics, the overview, and we know that to be ethical in business, it is just a matter of applying what is accepted worldwide or in that field of business and what is right. Unless you want to be unethical, that is when you want to make some undue profits. In the long run, in the short term, you may benefit, but in the long run, you may have problems. So some paradigm shifts and the emphasis here, the focus has shifted from the philosophy that is let the buyer be aware of emptor to let the seller beware. That's the caveat of vendetta. This philosophy comes to tell us that as a buyer, it is very important that you are considered more like a third. But the seller, you should be aware. You know what you are selling. So it should not be the emphasis should not be on the buyer, that you should know that what is coming to buy is the good one or is the correct one. Should be able to bring the correct one for the buyer to be able to get what he or she has bargained for. It has also shifted from products to process. It's not just the final outcome, but how the main the outcome came about that's very important. So, for instance, you display that paradigm shift marketing. Okay, you displayed, bottle it nicely, but how was it produced? Did you go through the right process to get it done? Hence, you need to get the right things in there. That's where people just bring out fake drugs. You go to the market, the product looks nice, the label, everything. But the processes, they go through the process to get that original one. All those ones are very important. So the shift in that paradigm is marketing is very important that we talk about. Also, it is also that shift of materials or goods to men and the building up of a sustained relationship between and the seller. And that one is also quite clear enough when you look at it. So now you would want to ask ourselves, what is marketing ethics? Marketing ethics, you may want to look at it in so many ways, but it all talks about what? Honesty in all marketing transactions. Honesty. If you want to sum it up, honesty in all marketing transactions. You also look at it in terms of responsibility for the goods. So that seller should take that responsibility that I am not selling things that are not wholesome, that are not right. Market. And marketing ethics also talks about openness in all dealings. You know that this one that you are selling, some of the tomatoes, those are directly rotten, but you put the nice ones on top. And you want people to come and buy them. Meanwhile, you are not being open. It's better to let them know that the down ones are not too good. You try to use them first when it gets home. Fairness in all the dealings. This is just straightforward. Marketing ethics also talks about respect for human dignity. You don't just treat people as if they are not important, just thinking about your own, yourself alone. But the human being is also important. Marketing ethics, information regarding the product. For instance, and a good example is cigarettes. They have disclosed that it's not good for your health, which you are aware. So you also go ahead to buy it. At least that information has been made known to you. So you need to see that yourself whilst you are consuming it. Marketing is about charging prices, making undue or too much profit. It's not the good thing or the way to go. During the COVID, price their own things in their own way, skyrocketing prices here and there. And these things were all against marketing ethics, just because they feel there's those in short supply. It is true that demand and supply talks about prices, but looking at the demand and supply, that is the bigger one. So that will automatically drive or low. But you, the individual, you, the one producing the thing, should not peg it such that you make too much profit out of it. So fair prices is very important. Marketing ethics also talks about selling products that are not harmful. Someone will not come and buy your product and he buys it 20 Ghana cedis. The next time he's over 100 Ghana cedis. So marketing ethics also has to do with truthfulness in disclosing the quality and effect of. In the British Code of Advertising Practice, they hinge their own things on four, which they always want to talk about truthfulness. So once you decide to advertise, they have that Code of Advertising Practice: truthfulness, legality, honesty, and decency. And these things are self-explanatory. That two things that will actually affect others. So when you are buying by the internet, then it means with that, your neighbor or the one who is consuming it will not suffer any undue disadvantage. Now, let's look at some unethical practices in the marketing. First, not always safe and harmful. So when you look at products, you want to bring out product to market and just trying to be, because you are unethical, you bring out products that are not safe and very harmful to the consumer. Pricing either too high or too low. Mostly people will not price their things too low. If you price it too low, it's unethical, because you end up also this business or the others business, just because probably others try to adopt this strategy for market penetration, but in the short term they regularize it and they come apart. But when you consistently try to price your things too low just because you want to collapse some other person's business, then that one too is unethical. Packaging does not often mention the safety instructions or the level or no expiry date. You see people, they will get the thing, the expiry date, you repackage it, and some will not even put expiry date at all. It's unethical. People must know when those products are going to be expired, the shelf life of those products. When you look at the distribution, some may be often uneven. You know that yes, this product is supposed of Ghana, but you know that in let's say Kumasi, it is sold at 20 Ghana cedis. In Accra, it is sold at 50 Ghana cedis. So because of that, your distribution, that because it's not in so much supply, instead of spread it out across, so that all others may benefit from that same product, which is good for everyone. You may want to send more to Accra and there's less to Kumasi, just because you want to get more money. And that is unethical. Promotion or advertisement, it should be legal. That one product will come on TV, you see them talking about them, those that are not even cleared by standard board, taking care of more than 100 ailments or sicknesses. Some are untrue. So once you know that this is not true, and you are talking about just because you want to promote the sale of that product through advertisement, it is also unethical.
Okay, just to say that I don't know whether you've seen the recent rebuttal from Joy News about the IT, whatever AI generated adverts. Once again, it's about medication. The name just escaped me. That they said they could heal some form of ailment or so.
Yes.
Okay, and they were able to use their news anchor's voice, and then they pair it up with people that looked like medical doctors
talking about it here and there.
Yes. I don't know whether.
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay.
They use their anchors advertising all those ones that it is good, it cures high blood pressure, will
That's
cool
right.
completely, and all those ones are all lies. Even though that one is AI, these ones are deliberate issues by people. But then, that's ethics of the consumer issues. When we talk about this of consumer issues, I mean, we're looking at principles and values that actually guide how businesses and organizations interact with consumers and the responsibilities they have towards those. So those responsibilities that have towards the consumers are form of contractual. They are a form of responsibility that the manufacturer, the seller will have for the buyer. So these ones have been grouped into some theories. And when we look at contractual theory, it's about protection of the buyer from any risk of the product. So because once the buyer has come to purchase the thing, that he is coming to buy the good thing. So he is taken as a third party. So he should not be come and then suffer unduly by purchasing your product. And he has satisfaction from the product and value and the value for money that he or she is spending to purchase that product. So that contract looks at it contractual theory. For the social cost theory that we are looking at, that ethics of the consumer issues, there, though no creation of by causing negative utilization or of the product, that is sicknesses or any other sort of social danger. So near coming purchase that product or consume that product, I go ahead and then actually develop extra cost by just consuming that product. The due care theory is also very important. So these theories are very important for whoever is in or selling to have at the back of the mind that due care must be taken by the seller or the manufacturer to ensure that the product is safe during use. That is during the consumption by the consumer. So some key concerns ethics seeks to address.
Okay, before we get there, you can see from these theories why there has been a shift from the buyer beware and maxim now to seller beware, right? Yeah.
Yes.
In time past, if you had a case and you went to court, the judgment will be based on whether, as a buyer, you did your due diligence. Yes, you do due diligence. Did you check expiry date? Did you do that, and so on and so forth? And now there is an obligation on sellers to do that which is right. So it is not just about the buyer being aware now, but the seller, first and foremost, you owe it as a contract to provide products that are good, products that are of good quality, and so on and so forth. So if you take your time and go through these three theories, you understand why now the burden has almost shifted from the buyer to the seller or the manufacturer of products. Okay, let's look at key concerns that consumer ethics seeks to address.
Yes, so consumer ethics seeks to address a number of key concerns. Notable among them is the protection and safety, that is consumer protection, assurance about product life and safety, reliability and maintenance, no information asymmetry. With this one, see if you could expand, because I was trying to get the understanding of that and I wasn't too clear on that one. The third point.
Okay, so information asymmetry is normally a finance term that basically seeks to talk about situation where some people, insiders, for example, tend to have information that outsiders don't have when it comes to companies. And because the insider dealing things where they then use that information to their advantage. Okay, so in this context, we're talking about situations where manufacturers may have certain information that they may not disclose to buyers. Earlier on, you were talking about simple things like expiry dates, right? Because they feel if they were to label or indicate the expiry date, some consumers may not buy because the products are closer to their expiry date and so on and so forth. They may choose to remove the expiry date or not to write that at all. That is information asymmetry, where the manufacturers or the sellers actually know the expiry date, but the buyer is not in the position to know because of the position, his or her position as a buyer. Is that point clear?
Yes, sir. So that is more of non-disclosure.
Non-disclosure of full information, right? So there are instances where if you're dealing with big buyers like the malls, okay, sometimes you have to give them the breakdown of your cost of production, and then they will tell you the margin they want to provide to you, or they will bargain with you as the additional margin or profit they want to give to you. So if they get to know your cost of production, they will tell you they want to give you, say, 15% or 10%. And because of the quantities they buy, normally manufacturers are open to negotiate with them in that direction. So that explains why when you go to mall, you may get a product that is cheaper in terms of price than even the ordinary market. It's because of the fact that they have access to information with regards to cost of production that other ordinary buyers may not have. So information asymmetry, no information asymmetry, as you summarize it, it's about full disclosure of information. Between the manufacturer or the seller and the buyer.
Okay. So other key concerns that consumer ethics seek to address are proper marketing and advertisement ethics for selling the products. It also addresses consumer law and policy, consumer seller relations agencies, strong consumer organization agencies, protecting against unfair trade practices and unfair and false advertisement. And with this one in Ghana here, you could see that the Standard Board does most of these ones on our behalf, even though when the products arrive. But then when it is getting to the consumer, then now we expect that the price regulatory authorities, like they do for the fuel and other ones, would be able to do these ones for us, because we know
but even with advertisement, we have a problem. Recently, I think is it Joy once again or One Media House decided to mix 3 soft drinks.
Coke,
yes,
and
Fanta, Makufa, malt, Coke, Fanta,
and the Fanta.
Yes, and made because they could pay, they got media houses to make wild claims about the kind of to advertise for them. So even with advertisement, we have a problem in this country. Yeah.
And with that, you could see that when they finished that whole exercise, they came back to say that the media house did not even check whether this one has passed through standards boards and all those. So the media house also have that responsibility to be sure of what they are bringing out to the market, but they will not do any due diligence and also advertise because they need their money. So now we look at some ethical issues in finance and accounting. In finance, as we all know, is the lifeblood of business, and accounting is linked to financial management. That one, you cannot separate it from financial management. So, 2 objectives of financial management: first is to maximize profits, that we all know, in the short term, and reinvest that profit or the proportion of that profit into the business to grow it. And then the second one is the maximization of the wealth or the company's assets. So ideally, the financial sector of a company is motivated in 2 areas: the operational essentials and then the social essentials. Talking about the operational essentials, we look at how to ensure adequate amount of finance is available for investment, to efficiently use the financial resources for the benefit of the company, and then to make safe and sound investments that generates a stream of cash flow, and then to ensure that investments lead to net benefits over cost. For the social essentials in the financial accounting is to make timely payment of wages, interest, tax, and dividends. And this one, once you are in the finance and accounting, you would always want to ensure that you pay all these things. And that is ethical, so that you will not default in those areas. For instance, I think recently there was one Lebanese company in Tema or so that's owing over, is it 70 or 17 million dollars, and GRA had to go and then close them just in taxes. And all those ones just because the social part of the day are not being ethical. So these are some of the unethical issues that they are engaged in. Now, accountability and transparency. See, the manager is accountable to the management or board of the justification of all payments made by him or his department. Accountability and transparency go hand in hand in a competent managerial position. Transparency denotes the openness with which financial functions are carried out. There is nothing secret or secretive, and everything is open to investigations and verification. So, in accountability, transparency, the manager just need to follow the laid down ethics. Now, considering some unethical financial practices, then you may be looking at manipulation of financial data. I don't want to go into that direction, but even when you look at it in general in Ghana, according to even the opposition, they were saying that our financial state was somehow manipulated. So the right ones was not given to Ghana. But when it got to IMF, now they had to cough out the right financial data. But it is very important for us not to manipulate the financial data because it is unethical. Other areas of financial practices which are unethical is to share the share price that may be artificially raised without any economic fundamentals justifying that action. Just raise the share price without any corresponding trigger. Insider trading, the person being aware that this is what is happening may want to even arrange to buy even the shares or the stocks of the company inside because he knows what is in there. All those ones are unethical. That is why most often in companies, when they float shares, they do not even allow their workers to purchase part of the shares. Merger of companies may be a financial stunt because the other one 2 years. And then financial irregularities, not going by the laid down financial standards of reporting. Companies falsify bills of purchase to inflate costs in order to reduce taxes. Self-explanatory. And these things are all unethical practices that they engage in sometimes just to outwit or to minimize their obligations. Some unethical practices in accounting as misappropriation by not recording the cash receipts. So if you giving VAT receipt, they want to record it on another form of receipt. Misappropriation of cash payments. Misappropriation of goods by wrong recording of sales and supply or by theft or by showing damages and so on. Manipulation of accounts may be done by showing increased asset value, decreased liability, increased sales, and so on. And all these things are all gymnastics that people really engage in just to make money. And all these ones are just unethical in the practices of accounting that they are supposed to engage in. So the ethical issues in human resource management, that the workforce is the heart of the organization. So human beings must be treated fairly and equally and should not be disregarded in any way because they are the heartbeat. Without them, that workforce, without them, the organization does not exist. Therefore, it is used in administration, supervision, management, production, distribution, marketing, and technology development. So that workforce is very important. So human resource management can hardly be exaggerated in the system of business management. what is human resource management? Which I think we delve lightly in it in our first semester. And that's the process of acquiring, developing, and using a workforce in order to benefit a business or for profit maximization, utilizing them very well. And it involves hiring, training, placing, allocating, motivating, taking welfare into account, creating a committed workforce through a positive relationship in the organization. So if you have a very solid and a good human resource management department that takes care of all these ones, then I don't think you would even have any problem. But in recent times, there's the paradigm shift in the human resource management. And the shift emphasizes on what? The recruitment of people based on hard skills or academic qualification to soft skills. And this is because people now they've acquired certain new ways of doing things by virtue of technology and other things. So no one would want to spend too much time on you bringing books and other things that I am this, I am that, when the job itself cannot be done. There's also that shift, and it emphasizes on the locally useful skills to internationally useful skills. What you do locally, at least you should have something that you could use it that could be international. Taking us down the lane using hoe and cutlasses to weed and to do all sort of things in farming. Now people are looking at what? Operating machines, the plows and other things to maximize yield. And that is international. So anywhere you go and you say, oh, you are a farmer, people believe that at least you know the modern equipment to use in your farming. No longer the the local skills that you have. I'm not saying the local skills is not good, but it should be upgraded. So that paradigm shift is what we are looking at. From recruitment of good people to retention of those people. You may recruit good people, but if they come and then the human resource management is not good, you don't take care of those people, you will not be able to retain them. So the emphasis is not about recruiting the good ones, but how to retain those people is where the shift is. Because there are so many avenues that are open now. If you are you come here and he's good, he comes here and he thinks he's not getting satisfaction, he abandons you and company B comes, I offer you more, I leave. So he's always for the highest bidder. But the way you will be able to retain those people is what is more important. There's also that shift in the creation of physical productivity to value creation ethically and human values. Physical productivity, producing, to now value creation because now people have conscience, their ethics are very important. So people would want to rather side with you. It doesn't matter how whether even they have to pay a little more for them to have what is ethically good than to just look at the somebody will say the mamsara type, produce in large quantities without looking at the human being who is going to consume it. There's also that paradigm shift in a legalized and formalized settlement of conflict to a more personalized and humanized system of resolution of discord and dissensions, where you don't now, hey, the rule says this, I want to do this too. More of dialogue, more of discord, discussions, trying to resolve issues. That's why now these days you see people going more into what? Conflict resolutions,
ADR.
ADR, alternative dispute resolutions, than looking at the law and I see you in court and this and all those ones. Now, some challenges in the human resource management. Human resource management, one of the biggest challenge is training of workforce. every human resource manager's aim is to make sure that you have a very skilled and competent workforce that will be able to execute the job. But in most cases, you get those who are unskilled or untrained coming in. So it means there is the need for you to spend much more on them to train them to that standard. Those who are already trained, who could fit in easily without much effort, will not be coming. And they will now be moving to the second point, which is brain drain. They will be moving elsewhere, leaving those who are not very skilled. Some too will be here, you train them very well, and now instead of helping, because human beings sometimes too, we are also unethical. Instead of looking at where I came from, what has been invested in me, abandons and take off because it thinks, oh, there is some higher pay somewhere. Then they take off. Other challenges include discrimination, eradication. And in the workplace or in the company, this is one thing that always comes up. And discrimination comes up in so many forms. Because here and there in our businesses, family and friends come in here and there. Things come up and you want to favor this and want to, so all those ones work against the company somehow. So that eradicating that discrimination is one of the biggest challenge in the human resource management. Pay differences, also delving into that same discrimination into pay differences. See this person doing the same kind of job, another person doing the same or similar kind of job, but the pay difference is so much, disparity in your pay system. So it brings discontent and people are not satisfied. Alienation among some employees, seeing some as the creme de la creme and some as not so important. So, and then maintain allocative efficiency. That is what maintaining the allocative efficiency, the efficiency of the company is also one big challenge because you need to take care of the workforce, and the workforce is the one that will be able to keep you at that same level all the time. So maintaining that one is one of the challenges, and it's quite very difficult. So the ethical dilemmas in the human resource management in the matter of promotion, as initially I talked about as a challenge trying to avoid discrimination, eradicating it. The matter of promotion, whether you should give preference to your family and friend or special preference to a relative or somebody. So this dilemma comes in here and there. You may have a number of people who are qualified, but the vacancy might be few. So now that ethical dilemmas now come in. Should I give this relative of mine? Should I give this friend of mine over this? What criteria would you want to use? The use of women and children will reduce the wage cost. So now you want to know whether you should go in for children, women, and is it morally right to use a child or to engage in child labor? So these are all ethical dilemmas that the human resource may want to look at. By exploiting labor, the company can gain much, but is it morally permissible? Should discrimination be permitted? It may allow the firm to get some egoistic satisfaction or earn some more profit, but it is morally oblige. It is morally not right. These things will not last. They are short-lived. So should the firm declare a generous bonus at the end of the year or a stingy one? So these are all dilemmas in the human resource management. So managing your workforce is really an issue when it comes to the business. That's why you see some engaging in some unethical practices, especially in the human resource management, looking at discriminatory policies here and there being practiced by the human resource management department. Firms often disregard the workplace safety and health issues. The human resource management policies may be absent, or even if it's there, biased. Sexual harassment, there, forced labor and child labor, they are all unethical. But these unethical practices all come about just because people want to cut corners and want to do things in a way either to get profit or to cut down on their obligations. But what are the qualities of a good employer? The employer must be considerate. Look at human beings as human beings. You obey the principles of human rights so that the rights of the individual worker, whether is a laborer or is a cleaner or is a professional, will not be trampled upon. That all human beings have equal rights. And there is no discrimination and harassment. That good leader or good employer will ensure that in the company, discrimination and harassment will not exist. The good employer will always make sure that he keeps the working environment comfortable and safe for his workers. The good employer does not exploit workers, but he allows them fair wages, pay them for the work that they're doing, not looking for cheap labor, exploit them and pay them peanuts. A good employer will never resort to unethical shortcuts to win over workers. And a good employer will always solve all disputes and conflicts in an amicable way, using either alternative dispute resolution, so that there's always a workplace, the workplace environment is always conducive for people to work in happiness. So ethical issues in production and operations management. That is the next one that we're looking at. And production and operations management is concerned with everything relating to what we know as managers, or planning, organizing, production, work environment, occupational safety and health, rules, safety measures, and all these ones come under production and operations management. So there are basically two dimensions of production and operational management. The first one is the products, their quality and safety. And the second one is what? The health and safety of production personnel. So the product itself and then the personnel. So now some unethical attributes of the products. First, unsafe and damaging to the health. Products should be safe. So any manager who engages in unethical attributes that has to do with the products, the resultant effect is that unsafe and health issues that may come up. The product may not be reliable. That product will be substandard. That product will be unwanted and may have some side effects that are not really welcomed. Contaminated and adulterated. And these are all unethical attributes. People engage in all these unethical attributes with regards to the products that they are bringing out to the market just because of the profits that they seek to get, which is short-lived. Now, unethical working conditions, that has to do with the personnel, the health of the personnel. And many serious diseases are job related. Some are exposed to some radiations here and there, which is very harmful. But do you have the requisite working gears for them to protect them against such diseases that they stand to get at the job or at the workplace? Noise pollution. Do you give them the requisite gears to protect their eardrums? Death due to physical accidents. And all these things do happen just because people engage in unethical working conditions. The safety gears, the things that they're supposed to provide, they tend to close their eyes on them, or they tend to turn blind eyes on those issues. So they end up giving problems or affecting the health of the personnel. So the working conditions and facilities may be inadequate. And inside and outside pollution of the chemical substance, all these ones are unethical. In Ghana here, even though in our laws it is there that you make sure that you provide all those things, but the one who is looking for his money and is not interested in the workforce always engage in these unethical behaviors. So now we look at ethical issues in the information technology industry. Salient features of the IT industry. There is a steadily market rising for its goods. Research and knowledge underpin IT sector. And that one is very true because now the IT sector has made it very easy or very simple for people to search, to verify, and to do so many things and even come up with new ideas, new ways of doing things. Some ethical issues in the IT sector or IT industry is backed by a large number of emerging consumer goods industries and is connected to many other expanding sectors. Some ethical issues in the IT industry also has to do with the expansion of these businesses, and these businesses is responsible for large portions of the development of the services sector in many nations. Export of IT products have significantly increased in recent years. And these are all ethical issues in the information technology industry. But some of the major challenges in the IT industry also include the continual advancement in knowledge and generation of ever new innovations. Because we see this as a challenge because things become obsolete in no time. That continual advancement of the IT industry, today you gain this, tomorrow it's obsolete. And so it ends up getting people to spend much more on information technology. Maintaining standards and making it constantly contestable, very important, because you want to be the part of the those who are using the latest ones. You have to now spend more, and it's a challenge. The human resource component, another big challenge in the IT industry. Now they are the hotcakes. So the brain drain, moving from one point to another. So you always have to spend much more employing people, cybersecurity experts, and others just to protect your systems and then your organization. Some ethical issues and dilemmas in the IT industry. The ethical issues that we may look at is the level of informational privacy. How do we now look at the information as privacy, and then is again you also want it to be out there? These are two things that always bring some form of dilemma in the IT industry. Ensuring the accuracy of information, it's also another thing. Some today you are making sure that this one, the accuracy, this one is right, and other things. The next time, because you don't control the IT industry, another thing has come in to debunk it or to change it completely. The informational property rights, accessibility of information, availability without payment, the use of the information in a modified form. And these are ethical issues that probably, if you take it on one side, you would realize that it is good to use. And then on the other side, also, when you look at it, it can also be used either against you in a way. So now the unethical practices in the IT industry that usually tend to hamper the ethical and the dilemmas that we always envisage include some of the following: spread of virus, because now you have tried to be open and other things, you want people, now virus coming. Piracy, because now you cannot have the informational property rights. You were looking at that as an ethical issue and then a dilemma, and then now piracy in there. People, when you do it this way, people now also come in, pirate your things, and you don't even get anything out of it. Hijacking, hacking of your systems, spoofing. And when we talk about all these ones, these are IT terms, and hacking is just getting into your system to do certain things, or to deny you access of certain part of your system or your computer. The hijacking is to take your system out of your use completely, that they may decide to do either to make it be a ransom, or may just simply want to destroy it. And spoofing, using it to deceive you, sending you something to entice you, and immediately you get into it, you are hooked. It's like fishing in the sea or in the river. Turn the fishing hook in there, they throw a bait to you, so your workers and even the company itself. These are all unethical practices in the IT industry. And people tend to do all these things just because they also want to find a way to penetrate it and get some money out of it. If people were not engaging in any of these things, credit card fraud, account takeover, cyber extortion, email threats, unauthorized sharing of information, the phishing, and all those, if people were not engaging in all these unethical practices, I think the IT industry would have been a very good thing or a very good place to be. But because we are all engaging in, they are engaging in these things just to get the money, just to get the ransom, they tend to make the IT industry also quite dangerous. So thank you very much for your attention. And if there are questions, clarifications, concerns, then I will take them.